Hello, and welcome to the Majors of the Month series. I am Emily Long, Senior Career Advisor at High Point University. This series is dedicated to helping you explore and understand what you can do with the various majors HPU offers. Each month, a different major will be highlighted, and we'll host a panel including a faculty member, employer, and career and professional development team member to discuss aspects of the major. The major of this month is Education Studies. And today we'll be speaking with Dr. Allie Blosser, Assistant Professor and Program Coordinator of Education Studies at HBU, and Ms. Pamela Green, Site Coordinator and Child and Family Advocate with Community in Schools, a nonprofit organization that helps at-risk students stay in school. One thing you may not know about the Education Studies major is that it offers students the opportunity to pursue interests and careers related to education, but not necessarily K through 12 teaching. Students have the option to take interdisciplinary coursework related to one of several specialty areas, including policy studies, community engagement, family and society, or psychology. Possible career trajectories for students with this major include school counseling, school social work, higher education administration, educational research, nonprofit leadership, and more. Be sure to utilize the What Can I Do with This Major link at the end of the panel discussion to further explore your options as an Education Studies major. So let's get started. First, I'd love to have Dr. Blosser, if you'll introduce yourself, including your role here at HPU.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Blosser, and I get to coordinate the Education Studies major and minor at HPU.
Thank you so much. We're happy to have you here. Ms. Pamela Green, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, your role, and your organization.
Okay, thank you. Again, I am Pam Green. I am actually located at an elementary. I'm at Fairview Elementary here in High Point. I do represent the nonprofit Communities in Schools, and we really are a dropout prevention program. And that may sound strange in elementary, but that has a lot to do with making sure children are reading on grade level, especially between the 3rd and 4th grade, and bringing in any community resources that are needed to make our school successful and our children successful. And that's how it really moves into the advocacy of our students, our parents, and families and what they need.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. We're so happy to have you here with us. So I'll go ahead and get started with my first question, which I'll direct towards Dr. Blosser. Can you tell us why it's great to be an Education Studies major?
Sure. There are a lot of great reasons to be an Education Studies major. We know education is a huge field and it extends well beyond the classroom, and it's a great fit for students who are really interested in working with youth or kids in some capacity, but not necessarily as a K through 12 teacher. It's an interdisciplinary major, which is great. And as you mentioned in your introduction, Emily, you know, you can take a lot of different pathways in the major. You could look at education as a business, and kind of pursue the business track of the Education Studies major. If you're interested in school counseling or child psychology, you could pursue the psychology track. If you're interested in changing education policy to make more equitable policies for students, that's a route you can go. If you love engaging in the community, that's another pathway. And so there are just a lot of ways to really make the major your own and fit your career goals and interests. It also has a low number of credit hours compared to other majors. So at 40 credit hours, it's a major that most of our students are actually double majoring, or they might have 2 minors. But because of that, it pairs really nicely with lots of other majors on campus. And so it's one that you could consider adding into your degree plan, or certainly be able to pursue a minor very easily within our course requirements at HPU. And then the final thing that makes it just a great major is that all of our majors and minors in Education Studies get to do an internship. And Miss Pam Green with us has supervised many of our interns in the education studies program. So she can talk about that in a few minutes, but there's all sorts of internships you can do. I have students with lots of different nonprofit organizations right now, not only communities and schools, but the High Point Children's Museum, the Children's Division of the High Point Public Library. I've had students with Guilford Education Alliance, Ready for School, Ready for Life, nonprofits serving students with special needs, Special Olympics. Like there are so many different internship opportunities for students. And I get the pleasure as program coordinator to help you find those cool internships. So that's why it's great to be an education studies major.
That's great. Those are a lot of great reasons. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. And my next question is for Pam. Can you tell us, why do employers like to hire education study majors as interns or at full-time jobs?
Okay. It's been really instrumental with the successes that we have in our business model, and schools are business models. It gives us the opportunity to bring in new ideas. I know they're students, but they have some fabulous ideas. They can create all types of new documents when we're working on things, whether we're case managing our students or coming up with new programs on how to understand the successfulness of some of our reading programs, our attendance programs. It's just awesome. I think students have the energy, they have the desire, they have the initiative to do so many things. It just creates such a great environment to have the energy, and also for us to have the energy that's coming from High Point University, and the way High Point University prepares their students. We've just been so successful with all of the students that have come in. It's been phenomenal. So
that's great. Thank you so much. Would you be able to share with us a little bit about what an internship would look like working with community in schools?
Okay, I will. One of the main things that communities and schools does is attendance. I mean, we do a lot of things, but one area is attendance. So right now I'm going to give an example of someone we currently have with us. She is coming in. She has an interest in going back to grad school for social work. So as a social worker in our building, you would always be working with children and their families to make sure they're here on a regular basis. The current intern we have right now has created a spreadsheet that makes it very easy to document where we've been talking, the need to talk to students, their attendance, also talking with their parents. And this person also has started to make some of these calls. So there's been a good exposure on how to create something that you need that will fit what your end result is. Also to be involved in the process all the way through. It's such a win-win on both sides, because when you have small successes as you go through the process, especially for this project, it's just really exciting. It's exciting for us, but it's also exciting for the studies major.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And so my next question is for both of you, but I'll have Dr. Blosser start for us here. What are some great things that our students can put on their resume as an education studies major?
Yeah, well, I think, gosh, there's a lot. So obviously the internship, right? I mean, they graduate having had a professional internship with evaluations of them that they can include in the internship. But I think most importantly, students who major in education studies get experience in a variety of different educational settings and working with a variety of different age groups. So many of our courses are experiential, where we take students to different nonprofit organizations. We take students to different schools to see how they operate differently. We bring in tons of speakers and include workshops in our classes. So students really get a hands-on experience trying on a lot of different hats in the field of education, but also just working with a variety of ages and in a variety of settings. I think those skills working with youth is great, right? And then, a big part of what we look at are educational policies, and we kind of do that in all of our classes in the education studies major. And so to be able to graduate saying, hey, I've done policy analysis. I've looked at how something as simple as a school dress code policy can be inequitable for students, right? So they get those problem solving skills, those analytic skills, and those are great things to be able to market to a potential employer.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much. Those are all great skills and attributes and experiences for our students to have on their resume. And Pam, do you have anything to add there as far as what are some great things that maybe you like to see on students' resumes when they're applying for internships?
Wow. I think it is important that you've seen that they've had a lot of exposure. If they're coming into the school to do anything, it's nice to see that they've had exposure, whether it be from the admin side of it, of just sitting in those admin meetings, which is something that I always try to do. I think it's important to see what we do from all levels, whether it's the direct service that we're actually giving to students, whether it's the team approach where we're working together with the other social worker in the building and the counselor, to see that they've had teamwork experience, and then understanding and kind of following what the policies are for different companies and understanding how you follow policies, but you also can be part of making changes in policies and helping to improve. It's nice to see those kinds of things on a resume with your students.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much. So this is my final question, again, directed for both of you, and I'll have Pam start us with this one. What would you say is your best piece of advice for an education studies major at HPU?
Be open-minded when you come in for an internship or when you're starting to go into this. There's so many avenues when you're coming in and what you think you want to do. Be open-minded. There's so many options out there. Just reflect, sit back and listen to things and observe things that happen, and just reflect on it, on what your long-term goals are.
Absolutely. That's great advice. Thank you so much. And Dr. Blosser, what would you say is your best advice for our education studies majors?
I would say to be prepared to be motivated to change the world. So many of our students graduate with this passion and this will to make the world a better place for young people. And I mean, I have so many emails from alums of our program that have just said, it was this class in the major that inspired me, or it was this visit to this school, or it was my internship that changed the trajectory of my career. And, I'm making the world better for kids. And I think that's my biggest piece of advice is, if you're not excited about making the world better for young people, maybe it's not the major for you, but to come in and be prepared to be motivated to change the world.
Yeah, well, that's a great piece of advice. I love that. So thank you both so much. This concludes our Majors of the Month for Education Studies. So Dr. Allie Blosser, Ms. Pam Green, thank you both so much for being here with us today. And students, I just want to draw your attention to the links that you will see on your screen. You will see what can I do with this major, where you'll be able to continue exploring your options within education. And then you'll also see a link to schedule an appointment with a career advisor in our Office of Career and Professional Development. And we would love to meet with you to further explore what would be a great fit for you. So thank you so much and have a great day.
Thanks.
Thanks.